Today we're changing it up a little bit. I feel like since I've been back, I've been a bit preachy. Great adjective, by the way. So today's episode is going to be a little bit more fresh. We're going to vamos a inaugurar, we're going to debut some new segments that I think are fun and useful, and we're not going to dwell on things too much and try to drive the point home over and over like I feel I've been doing at times. One of these new segments is my secret list, by the way. I always tell you to have a list of vocabulary, expressions, or whatever on your phones that you're always adding to. So today we're going to take a look at mine. That will be towards the end of the episode. So let me know what you think about this episode, if you like the segments or just some general thoughts. Oye, pero en serio, si estás escuchando esto and you're thinking, well, someone will comment something, yo no escribo comentarios or anything like that, sí, tú también. The fastest way this podcast can get better for you is if you tell me what you want. So unless you're driving, tell me your opinion. All right, let's do this. You are listening to episode 10 of season 2 of English with Dane. Hit it. Okay, we have officially started the show, so let's jump into today's first segment. I'm calling it Behind the Headline. What we're going to do is simple. We're going to take a look at a short news article together about something going on in the world, and we're going to break it down, so talk about how they are communicating this information. We'll get some vocabulary, expressions, and whatever comes up. So let's go behind the headline. This one is from The Guardian, 8th of June, 2025. It says, British photojournalist hit by non-lethal rounds during Los Angeles protests. Nick Stern to undergo surgery for wounds sustained during the standoff between police and anti-ICE protesters. So right off the bat, to undergo, to undergo, to experience, or to be subjected to something, typically something unpleasant or difficult. You usually hear this paired with surgery, treatment, procedure, etc. So undergo, underwent, undergone, by the way, just like go. Standoff was the other word I wanted to briefly talk about. Todo junto, standoff. If you separate it, it's a phrasal verb, which means to keep at a distance or avoid something. So a standoff is when two people or two groups are in a tense situation where neither really wants to move, give in, or make the first move. Classic movie moment in which two people have their guns drawn at each other. I'll try to stop less so we can get into the flow a little bit more. Stern told The Guardian he had been covering the protest near a branch of Home Depot, La Tienda, in Paramount, where immigrant workers are typically hired for day work when he felt a sharp pain in his leg. He said this, I'm walking around taking photos and was untouched until around 9 p.m. I was walking across the road when I felt a mighty pain in my leg. I put my hand down and felt a lump kind of sticking out of the back of my leg, he said. Stern believes he was likely hit by a non-lethal round that deputies were using along with flashbang stun grenades for crowd control. People came over to help me and got me on the curb. A medic was called who cut off my clothes. In my leg was what felt like a 5-centimeter hole with muscle hanging out, Jesus Christ, and blood all over my leg. The medic put a tourniquet on it and a journalist I was with took me to the ER. He continues and says, it hurt so much that I thought they might be firing live rounds. I've been hit with non-lethal rounds before. They hurt like hell, but generally don't break the skin. But the blood made me think it was a live round. The full story is in the description of the episode if you guys want to check it out. Okay, there's some good stuff in here. I felt a lump kind of sticking out of the back of my leg. I know you figured out that lump means bulto, but I'm throwing it in here anyway to make sure you remember a lump. The most common collocations for the word lump are finding a lump, as in when conducting a medical exam, a lump of something like a lump of coal or sugar, and to have a lump in your throat. This last one is an expression that describes that moment where you can't talk because you're feeling too emotional about something, right? You have a lump in your throat. If you don't know what a collocation is, by the way, it's just a combination of words that native speakers naturally say together. It's like if certain words were friends and they just hung out all the time. At least that's how I like to think of it. Like to catch a cold, save time, serious problem, fast food. I feel like it's cool to know the most common collocations of these words that I'm telling you, so when we break it down, we can also see when you're most likely to run into them. The word curb is also an interesting one, C-U-R-B, curb. Let's talk about it in two contexts. In this context, it's the little edge, el borde, where the sidewalk meets the street. The sentence was, people came over to help me and got me on the curb. So, where the sidewalk meets the street. I want to talk about it as a verb, too, for a second. To curb means to control, limit, or reduce something, especially something negative. Like, the government is trying to curb inflation, for example. You might also know the popular show Curb Your Enthusiasm, starring the legendary Larry David, co-creator of Seinfeld, the person who the George character is based on. So to curb your enthusiasm means to not get carried away, right? To relax. Hey, just chill out. I wanted to talk about what felt like, briefly, what felt like. I don't know what this is. It's not an idiom or a fixed expression. It's just a common conversational structure, just a natural phrase that we use to exaggerate. I think this is a really good one for you to use if you're not already using it. The context was, in my leg was what felt like a 5-centimeter hole with muscle hanging out. Yeah. We don't need to relive all of that. So you can use it just before the descriptive part of what you're going to say. You can say, I waited for what felt like 5 hours. We were stuck in traffic for what felt like half of the day. I feel like I always hear it when exaggerating about time. So next time you want to exaggerate something time-related, there you go. Cool. By the way, I feel like I have to talk about this because a lot of people in the comments of this news story were correcting the publication and demanding that they stop using the term non-lethal. Their reasoning is that this type of round can absolutely take someone's life or drastically limit them going forward and provoke many types of serious life-threatening injuries. There are lots of people sharing their stories in the comments and demanding that they change the terminology. They're advocating for the use of the term less lethal instead of non-lethal. This is really interesting to me because the language that we're exposed to in the media subconsciously tells us how to feel about reality, right? And we have to be more mindful of this tool because it is incredibly powerful and reality altering in a way. So bear with me for a second. I didn't think we'd be talking about this today, but it kind of came up organically as I was planning the episode. And I think it's a very relevant topic, obviously in your own language first, but understanding the manner in which the language you're learning does this as well, I think is interesting. So let's talk about framing. Framing is how the media chooses to present a story, what words they use, what they highlight, what they leave out, and how that affects how we understand or feel about it. An easy example is protesters shot by police versus rioters clash with police. Same event, but wildly different framing, right? The former will enrage people. It makes you feel, wait, what happened here? While the latter makes you think, oh, that happened and it kind of makes sense, feels uneventful and vague, and you probably won't think about it too much unless it's a cause that you're following closely. So there's a big difference in what each headline elicits. So non-lethal, here's the problem from what I've gathered. Non-lethal suggests that it can't kill, but we know that's not the case. Less lethal is a term that makes more sense from a semantic perspective, for one, but it also suggests that it's not designed to kill, but it can under certain circumstances. So I do get their point. It's like the media is protecting the police and institutions and making it more difficult to obtain some sort of accountability for their actions.
This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Break through the busiest time of year with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. With real-time guidance and endless ways to move, you can personalize your workouts and train with confidence, helping you reach your goals in less time. Let yourself run, lift, sculpt, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
That section went on a little longer than I wanted it to, but I do think it's important and interesting to give these things some thought once in a while. All right, let's move on to the next segment. This is a quick one. I'm calling this one Lost in Translation. In this recurring section, we're going to take a look at things like expressions or just conversation structures that usually cause problems to Spanish speakers. Most people are translating in their heads while they speak, so I thought it would be a useful thing to do. Today, we are looking at one I've heard a lot. Tiene mucho carácter. Ah, yes. She has a lot of character. So this is not a crazy mistake to make, but you're perhaps describing something different. En castellano, si alguien tiene mucho carácter, they have firm opinions, they don't let themselves get pushed around, and they can maybe be a bit tricky to deal with, etc. But if you say that someone has a lot of character, it means that they are interesting, unique, memorable, and maybe quirky or a little unconventional. We use it a lot to describe places and objects too when we feel they have a lot of charm or personality. There could be a bookshop on your street that has a lot of character to it, maybe. What you want to say is that someone is strong-willed, adjetivo compuesto, or that they have a strong personality, or that they don't take crap from anyone, that they stand their ground, maybe they're a bit intense, etc. That's what you're trying to get across, so make sure you know the difference there. A quick pronunciation thing. So last week I had a corporate gig. I was hired to conduct this series of podcast episodes so people from different brands could go and present their past results and future plans to the global group that owns that brand. So it's an internal podcast that isn't coming out, no. The podcast was scripted, guionizado, it was scripted, so they basically just had to deliver their lines. And most people spoke English okay, and there were a few words that kept coming up over and over again that they kept mispronouncing, and it was driving me crazy. Especially because I know these are words that they are saying over and over again in their meetings and calls, and it's just such a small adjustment to say them correctly. And this isn't about accent, it's about just pronunciation. First, strategic or strategically. I must have heard strategic a million times. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but it's just what I've heard. I've heard strategic. I don't even mind the S part at the beginning that much, but you have to be saying egic, strategic, and strategically. Mete ahí la I, sin miedo. Strategic. No digas strategic. Strategic. Also, please stop saying focus or focused or focused. Es que el for focus ha hecho mucho daño, lo sé, but focused. O como oh my God, y luego us como us de nosotros. Focus. Us. I know that sound is hard sometimes because we don't really use it in Spanish, but give it a go. Pero tampoco es una A. No es focus, us. It's us. If you get to the point where you're opening fully and it sounds like an A, como una A, you've gone too far. Come back a little bit. Luego está project. La J tiene que ser una J, okay? Project. You have to use your voice box. Make your vocal cords vibrate. It's like the G sound in Girona, okay? I don't expect you to say like me, project, but just don't say project con Y, okay? Project. And that's all. A lot of you don't make any of these mistakes, I'm sure, but there are some of you listening right now who maybe make a couple of these from time to time, so that's for you. Let's tighten that up. All right, list section. This is my secret list. If you've listened to the show before, you know that I really believe in having a list going on of things that are catching your eye in English. Maybe words or phrases that you like, that you've picked up, and you think complement what you already know, right? These things are building the way you speak. So please, if you don't have a list already, it's never too late. Start one now. So today we're going into my list, things I've been writing down for you guys to talk about them on the show, either because I think they're cool or fun to say, or who knows. If they make the list, they made the list. I guess it's things I say that I like and maybe you can use too. So let's go to my secret list. Rehash, tengo apuntado. Rehash, what a great verb. To rehash something means to bring up or to reuse, volver a usar, something like an idea, a story, or an argument again, and usually in a way that feels repetitive, unnecessary, or unoriginal. Let's not rehash the argument we had earlier in the week. También tengo apuntado flaky. Ooh, I love this one, flaky. It's fun to say. We all have that flaky friend who says they're gonna come over or that you should get together and then they can't make it or doesn't come and has an excuse. So someone unreliable, inconsistent, and who tends to cancel plans. It's spelled Flaky, by the way, con Y, flaky. Then there's to slum it, Slum, slum. A very casual expression that's also a little cheeky. It comes with like a little jab or a little joke at someone's expense. A jab, como en el mundo del boxeo, is a quick, mostly harmless joke at someone. So to slum it means to temporarily live or do something in a way that's below your usual standards, especially when it comes to comfort, money, or lifestyle. Important to understand to make sense of this one. A slum is a part of a city that is overcrowded, that is often very poor, and has bad living conditions like inadequate housing, limited access to water, and other sanitation issues, usually with informal or makeshift housing. So maybe your friend who usually stays at nice hotels is staying with you in your average hotel while you're on a trip, so you would ask him why he's slumming it with you. Maybe you're slumming it on public transport for a week because your car's in the shop. You get it. There's always that element of like being too good for other people or being too good for a situation, and that's where the little jab that I mentioned before comes in. También tengo apuntado to tap into, phrasal verb for you. To tap into something means to really access or make use of something that already exists but might be hidden, unused, or maybe just not obvious. Maybe people really tapped into their creativity to write a song, or someone is really tapped into what makes people laugh, or a company wants to tap into new markets. So to tap a beer or a keg is those big silver containers of beers that you see in bars in American movies. To tap a beer or a keg means to open it with a little device and to start being able to have beer flow out, right? So people do this on trees to get sap and make syrup and all sorts of things too. So to tap into something. And last but not least, I have a pretty sexy adjective, seamless. There's just something about it that I really like. It feels elegant and clean, seamless. A seamless transition, for example. So seamless means smooth, without interruptions, flawless, or perfectly connected. It originally comes from the world of clothing and fashion. If something is seamless, there are no visible seams, so it looks and feels smoother. Again, seam, escrito seam, is that point where two pieces of fabric are stitched together. It's the line or the edge that you see on clothes where the material has been joined. So how was the transition from 1 to 2 kids? Oh, it was seamless, said nobody in the world ever. All right, that's it for today's show. It was nice to change it up a bit. I'll be changing it up more, though. I think I'm going to start bringing back the conversation episodes because a lot of you have written to me asking for those, and it's something I'm definitely planning to do. And the conversations won't be about English, by the way. I know that's boring. It'll be about what I want to talk to that specific person about. And what I'll do is while I'm editing the episodes, I'll add quick pauses to explain certain things that are being said that might be tricky or that might just be out of reach for your current situation. So stay tuned for all that because I think that will take us to the next level. All right, I hope you like this episode. Let me know in the comments on Spotify. Tell me your thoughts. Share this episode with a friend who'd also like it. And yeah, all of that. All right, talk soon. Later.